टू बी बुद्धिमान, उसमें बौद्धिक होते हैं कोरस, गीत, प्रार्थना, different utsavs and its meaning and significance, Shubhasit, Charcha, Ischintan, Amrut Vachan, etc. तो हमारे ये दो पहलू है शाखा का. Since COVID-19, we have moved to e-शाखा instead of physical शाखा. हम पहले हर रोज शाखा में जाते थे, फिजिकल हम तन मन उधर देकर, अभी हम घर पे ही बात कर सकते हैं on the e-शाखा. तो look at the difference. फिजिकल शाखा में जब हम शाखा में उधर जाते थे तो 30 मिनट्स का खेल होता था, 10 मिनट का बौद्धिक और अन्य 10 मिनट सूचना वगैरह, प्रार्थना वगैरह. तो थिंग्स हैव चेंज्ड नाउ. ई शाखा में 30 मिनट्स का बौद्धिक होते हैं इंस्टेड अगेंस्ट द 30 मिनट्स स्केल इन फिजिकल शाखा. 10 मिनट्स warm up exercise against the 10 minutes bauddhik on the physical shaka. And the games which are played in the e-shaka are mind-blogging. We have to use our brain more than the physical movement and are very informative games. The Bauddhik sessions, which have been going on for the past 12 weeks, and today is the 13th session, has been very well received. The book Karyakarta, written by Sri Dattopant Bapu Rao Thengadi, is in Hindi. Hence, some Swayamsevak Sevikas who do not read or write Hindi have now a knowledge because of the very well good speakers we have for these presentations. I want to state two distinct Karyakarta ki qualities from the many we have. One, each Karyakarta should be aware that Vyavhar is the stepping stone for progress in Sangh Karya, and he should therefore maintain intimate Vyavhar with his immediate seniors and his immediate juniors. Dusra hai, a Karyakarta should be able to justify every decision he makes. An act should not be performed blindly or as a ritual just because it may have been performed for the past many years. He must be able to evaluate a situation in the context of the current situation. तो ये दो पहलू एक हमारा कार्यकर्ता का रहते हैं. The Bauddhik session is so much in demand. UK में, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, many parts of Africa are asking कि ये जो Bauddhik session चल रहा है, where can we get it? And we tell them to go to YouTube and you will get these sessions of our lectures. इधर मैं समाप्त करना चाहता हूँ with all the good wishes for रक्षा बंधन उत्सव. और सबको मालूम है कि on the 5th of August राम जो भूमि पूजन होने जा रहा है, उनका भी हम गुड विशेस लेकर जाते हैं. धन्यवाद.
सुनीता जी.
जी. मातृ मंदिर का समर्पित दीप में चाह मेरी यह कि मैं जलता रहूं. मातृ मंदिर का समर्पित दीप में कर्म पथ पर मुस्कुराऊं सर्वदा. आपदाओं को समझ वरदान में जग सुने और झूमे अनुराग में. उल्लसित हो नित्य गाऊं गान में चीरतम दल अज्ञता निज तेज से बन अजय निश्चंक में चलता रहूं। चाह मेरी यह कि मैं जलता रहूं, जलता रहूं। मातृ मंदिर का समर्पित दीप में सुमन बन कर सज उठे जयमाल में। राह में जितने मिले वे शूल भी, धन्य मैं यदि जिंदगी की राह में कर सके अभिषेक मेरा धूल भी। क्योंकि मेरी देह मिट्टी से बनी है, क्यों न उसके प्रेम में पलता रहूं। चाह मेरी यह कि मैं जलता रहूं, जलता रहूं। मातृ मंदिर का समर्पित दीप में मैं जलूं इतना के सारे विश्व में प्रेम का पावन अमर प्रकाश हो। मेदिनी यह मोद से दिल से मधुर, गर्व से उत्फुल्ल वह आकाश हो। प्यार का संदेश दे अंतिम किरण, मैं भले अपनत्व को छलता रहूं। चाह मेरी यह कि मैं जलता रहूं, जलता रहूं। मातृ मंदिर का समर्पित दीप में चाह मेरी यह कि मैं जलता रहूं, जलता रहूं। मातृ मंदिर का समर्पित दीप में।
नमस्ते सभी को। माननीय संघ चालक जी श्री परेश जी शाह, केन्या के कार्यवाहिका श्रीमती जानकी जी अगस्त्य राजू, केन्या के सह कार्यवाह श्री कमल जी शर्मा, कार्यकर्ता गण, सेविका भगिनी एवं स्वयंसेवक बंधु, नमस्ते। आज ये सेशन लास्ट सेशन है अपनी जो सीरीज ऑफ टॉक्स का। अच्छा भी लग रहा है और थोड़ा सैडनेस भी है कि एक जर्नी एंड तक आ रही है। ये बुक जब हम पढ़ते हैं तो हमें बिल्कुल आजू बाजू जो चल रहा है वो हम सब भूल जाते हैं, और इस बुक के अंदर हम इतने निरंतर हो जाते हैं जैसे दरिया में स्नान के लिए हम जाते हैं। ये बुक बहुत ही पढ़ने लायक है, इसीलिए हमें हिंदी सीखना पड़ेगा. We should learn Hindi and go through this book. Though we have said a lot in these 12 or 13 sessions, to really get a grasp of this book, one has to read it. It has got such high words that cannot be very easily translated to the right meaning in English. For example, the word dharma. It cannot be defined very simply in English. Such is this book that one gets inspired to go and learn Hindi and read it. Once a cat was terrorizing a colony of mice, regularly sneaking up to them and eating the mice. The mice got together and called a Bauddhik to find out what to do about this menace, this cat. They came up with quite few suggestions, but all were found that could not be workable. One young Sevika mouse said, "I have an idea. If the cat has a bell around it, so if it sneaks up to us, we will know that the cat is there and we will be saved." Everyone was thrilled with this idea, and everyone said, "This is definitely going to work. It is the best thing happened." Another young swimsuit said, "That's very good, but how will we put the bell around the cat? Who is going to put the bell around the cat?" Of course, as swimsuits, we will know that in that team, one young Sevika or swimsuit said, "That's an easy job. It's just like playing ring. You throw the ring, it goes in the dund, you score a goal. The same way we will throw on the cat's head and win." We have seen that swimsuits and sevikas, and for that matter, people who think more about solving problems, always come up with fantastic solutions in whatever place, circumstances they are in. Even we have seen that in this COVID-19 era, how the swimsuits and sevikas have worked hard to go out and help whomever they have been possible to reach. Why is it possible, or how is it possible to get ordinary people do extraordinary work? It is in nature as well, we see this. The ants sacrifice themselves while crossing a river or while going from a tree to another tree or a leaf to another leaf. Some of them will die and form a bridge so that others will cross over them. We have seen how the simple ordinary men and monkeys of Ram's Sena could overcome and kill the great Ravan and his Asuri Sena. A Karyakarta is a person who not only thinks about the problem at hand, also visualizes and analyzes what is going to happen and acts accordingly, whilst not forgetting the goal. Last week, we ended with Hanuman, my hero. When we think of Hanuman, what comes to our mind? एक मनुष्य जिसके चेहरे ऊपर वानर का फेस है और वो बैठा है पद्मासन में राम राम धून कहते हुए. Isn't it so? But it is not. Hanuman was a great Karyakarta. If you ask a child, go to the kitchen, see if the light is on, what can happen? Well, one, some children will not go. I am afraid of darkness. Or some might go and come back and say, yes, the light is on. But there are others who think and act according, would go, switch off the light and come back and say, yes, the light was on and I switched it off. Similar is the case of Hanuman burning Lanka. When asked what was the task? To go and find Sita. Hanuman leaps across, goes into Lanka, finds Sita, and then after finding Sita, taking the message, he walks around. He sees Lanka is full of wealth. The people are living peacefully. They have all the foods and all the joys of the world. He realizes that this is a strong community and will not give up Sita just like that. If that was the case, they would have given her long time ago. He realizes that war is imminent. War shall happen. A very confident, a very strong society was Lanka. And he decided to do something about it. He gets himself caught and gets out of them and burns part of Lanka. Now, can you imagine how a society or how a person is thinking when their house is burnt, when part of the nation is burnt, when some supplies are burnt, when weapons are also burnt, and a war is happening? The person, the army, is a bit demoralized. The confidence in the army is down. Don't we see nations that have been terrorized by terrorists or nations who have been attacked? Everyone's attention is there. There is some kind of fear. There is some kind of demoralization. Such was his clever thought that Hanuman burnt part of Lanka, and when war happened, Ram Sena could win. The book is also named Karyakarta. Why? Because in Sangh, everything else definitely matters, but the most important thing, probably the only important thing, is the Karyakarta. The book has got so many difficult words that we all came across and have never heard, or have heard but never understood the meaning, which we realized how each word has got so much importance. When we come to the end of the book, it is important to just browse through it to understand and the whole book in a very quick way or in a quick review, so that the end becomes picturized to us in a clear way. The book is divided into 3 parts: the why, the how, and the who. The why talks about the base, the goal, what we are out to achieve. Everything that humans do, they always do whilst answering a certain why. Alice in Wonderland is a fairy tale story about a young girl, Alice, who wanders across her room into another world, a big forest with a lot of different flowers and animals, where animals also talk to humans. As she enters this great forest, she is afraid and scared. She is crying and she is sitting. A big cat comes and talks to her. Alice, why are you crying? What is the matter, my dear? And Alice says, oh, I am lost. I want to go and meet my mother. The cat says, oh, don't worry, dear. I will take you to your mother. Tell me, where is she? Do you know the house where your mother is? Do you know the path that takes you to your mother? And Alice says, oh, I don't know the path. I don't know where the house is. Isn't it sometimes in life? Ourselves, we don't know the path. We don't know what to achieve. What is the purpose of life? When such questions come to us, we have no answer because we are so much engrossed in our own rat race that we forget that as humans, as Hindus, there is a purpose of life. Generally, after analyzing so many different views, the purpose of life can be simply said as to be happy, to be satisfied, to be at peace. The Western world today, in the search of peace, in the search of happiness, has come up with its own notions. For man to be happy, he can do whatever he wants as long as at the end he becomes happy. Even though he exploits nature, it is okay as long as he becomes happy. And that is how the Western philosophy can be equated to the club culture. Man is a social animal and will definitely like to meet and have fun with people around him. So he goes to the club. He lives alone in his house but goes for enjoyment to the club. He plays cards, darts, has a few beers, enjoys with his friends and comes home. That is their definition of happiness. I do whatever I want, whenever I want, and wherever I want. When you come to think of this, when you come to think of people exploiting nature, one realizes that that is not true purpose of life. We can see today in the Western world, what we call the first world, there are more number of rape cases, more number of murders, more number of everything bad than anywhere else in the world. Isn't it so? Even in this COVID-19 era, we saw how the Western world reacted to it. In so many videos we have seen how people in the first world fought for what? For toilet paper. Come to think of it, the first world has got everything, still they fought in supermarkets for toilet paper. And do you see in the third world things like that? No. So really, is that the way forward? Is happiness that kind of happiness? Is it really satisfaction happiness? No. When do we really get happy? When you eat food or when you give food to someone? The satisfaction that we get when we give food to someone makes us more happy. Thus, it says that one becomes happy when bringing happiness to others. If everyone could bring happiness to their neighbors, the whole world will be happy. This model of Hindu Sanskriti of bringing happiness to others and thus getting internal happiness is what we have always followed from time immemorial. We were at our greatest thousands of years ago, and the whole world used to come to Bharat to see the path of spirituality which brings about internal happiness. It deteriorated with time, and today we think that the whole world should be happy. And that is our goal. And to bring about the whole world to be happy, we need a model where people can come and see this is how it is to live to be happy. This is how our way of life should be. The Hindu way of life is enshrined and enshrined in ways that one cannot exploit nature. Yes, you have to be happy, but you have dharma to be followed. You are bounded by dharma. It is like a river that flows forward but is blocked on the two banks, so it only moves forward. It does not overflow into the land, destroying nature. So, it is paramount and important to make our model, to make a model that people can come and see that this is how to attain happiness. Can you imagine if a mouse went to the elephant and said, I have come with a message of peace? The elephant will surely kick him. But what if an elephant goes to the mouse and says, I have come with a message of peace? The mouse will definitely listen. And for that, we have to become like the elephant. Our society has to become the elephant so that we can go out and spread the message of peace. To bring about the society that is a society of elephants, we have to have a system which creates such kind of men who would go out with such mission that we want to make this the greatest society, so that people will come and follow and make their own society great again. One who thinks more about the society first than himself, than even his own family, that is what is dharma. When a doctor is about to pray and he gets a call, there is a medical emergency. Will the doctor pray? No, he will leave the prayer and go and attend the patient. That is dharma. Today, dharma demands us that we look out for our society, make it strong, make it very peaceful, so that people will come and look and will copy paste and make their societies peaceful, and thus the whole world will be a peaceful place. Everyone will be happy. As Swamsevaks, as people who live in this society, we must know a certain thing about this. An example, if a monk, a sadhu, is asked, what is the difference between gold and sand? He will say, there is no difference. But for a Swamsevak, if asked, what is the difference? The Swamsevak knows that gold is for the society and sand is for me. It is a difficult task to create world peace, and for that we need this kind of men who would go around and think of the society first to create such peace. But how do we create such men? Such men are not born. There has to be a mechanism to create such great men. And the most difficult of problems to solve them lies in the simplest of solutions. The solution, the median, has to be very simple, has to be something that can be implemented anywhere. And that solution is our shaka. Our shaka is nothing but a man-making factory. It is what we call a good sanskar kendra. What is a sanskar kendra? Where there is a good environment, where there are good people or good company, and where the activity is such that it creates the right sanskars. When you have great characters and you enshrine them with greatness, they will go out with that and spread the right message of Sangha. It is to instill this great sanskar in everyone. The Shaka model was developed, and we will not say it is the best, but at present it is the model in front of us. We believe the Shaka model is the best model of instilling sanskars and creating great men. So the medium to create this great man is our Shaka model. On it, a whole chapter with a lot of information on the Shaka, the do's and don'ts, the hows and whys. We have heard it very well. Lastly comes who will do this work. It is of course the Karyakarta. A Swamsevak who comes to the Shaka from the Samaj, becomes a Swamsevak, realizes the importance of the goal and does this hard work. Any organization, the backbone of any organization is the Karyakarta or the hard worker. All of us come from very different backgrounds, different mindsets, we've got different temperaments, we are all very different. And it is by continuously attending Shaka, continuously knowing that we have to improve, knowing that we have a greater goal to do, we go out to do this great work. To attend the Shaka is probably the most important task for us as Swamsevaks, as Karyakartas, or even as Karyakartas of other organizations. When we say the pebbles of a river, all of them are uniformed, but they were not so when they were on the mountain. They rolled down into the river, and the water of the river slowly flows over the pebbles, cutting out all the rough edges and making it a smooth pebble. The pebble is ready for work now. You go to any organization, any industry, anywhere for that matter, there is always a demand for good people. Good women and men are always needed. When one thinks of a target for a year, you can grow flowers. When one has a vision for 10 years, we think of growing trees. When the vision is such great, 100 years, the vision is great, we have to cultivate men, cultivate people. And that is the work we do. The Swamsevak becomes a Karyakarta and goes out and works in organizations, in the Samaj, in families, and spreads this fragrance of Sangha, what we call Swamsevakness, overall to bring about the ultimate goal of world peace. How is it possible that Karyakartas can carry on this Swamsevakness everywhere? It is important, as I said before, regular Shaka attendance. One has to continuously attend Shaka and not forget us attending the Shaka. In this period of COVID-19, a lot of us have resorted to use the bicycle more so than ever. The bicycle wheel requires regular pumping of air, isn't it? After you use it for a day or two, you have to put pressure on it so that it goes out and does the work great, does the work well. The same is for the Karyakarta. The Karyakarta must not forget the importance of the Shaka. Once, a king at war with his neighbors lost the war and ran away from the battleship. He came to the jungle and saw an ashram and met the head guru of the ashram, and he said, "Oh Rishi, I have lost my kingdom and would like to stay here for a while." The Rishi said, "Of course, Rajan, you are welcome." Now we know how kings live. They've got good food, good beds, but in the ashram, the rishis have got only dhoti to wear. They eat very simply, they sleep on the floor, and the Raja had to do the same. After a few days, he comes to the head of the ashram and says, "All is okay, but I would like to ask, the kind of food that you eat is going to make me very weak. Is there some good food that I can get?" And the head says, "Yes, you see that tree? It is the Kalpa Vruksha. Go and ask anything, and that tree will give you. It fulfills all wishes of whoever asks to it." The Raja says, "That cannot be true. Let me give it a try." He goes and asks. Of course, just like us, we will ask pizzas and chips and pani puris and bel puris and whatnot, and he gets everything. He eats and sleeps well. The next day, he is ready to go and ask again. He asks and he gets. This carries on for a few days, and he asks the Rishi again, "Can this tree give me my kingdom back?" And the Rishi says, "Why don't you ask? It will surely fulfill your wish." The Raja asks the tree, "I would like to have my kingdom back. I would like to be the king again." Surely the next day, a small group of servants from his kingdom come on horses looking for the Raja and said, "Yesterday something astonishing happened. All the enemies went away walkingly. Something happened and they just left. The kingdom has got no king. Oh Rajan, please come with us. Become our king again." The Raja was surprised. How is this even possible? He goes to the Rishi and says, "My God, do you know I asked it for my kingdom and I got it?" And the Rishi blesses him. The Raja, a bit confused, inquires, "Tell me one thing. You live here with this tree, this wish-fulfilling tree, and whoever asks it anything, it gives. Then how is it that you live here without good food? You live here without good beds. You live here without good clothes. I mean, you all move around only in dhotis. Come on, why don't you ask this tree?" The Rishi smiles and says, "Do you know, Rajan, the tree gives everything and it will carry on doing it till we who look after the tree do not ask anything to it. The day we ask the tree for our own things, for our own personal satisfaction, is the day the tree will stop giving." Not asking the Kalpa Vruksh for anything, isn't it mad? Don't you think? You have a wish fulfilling tree in front of you, but still you live like a sadhu. You do not ask anything to it. Isn't it mad or madness? When Param Punya Dr. Ji started the Sangh in 1925, he used to say, I, Keshav Baliram Hedgewar, proclaim that this is Hindu Rashtra. And everyone said, this guy has gone mad. This person who is a doctor has truly gone mad. He's a doctor and plays with kids, says this is Hindu Rashtra, and he wants to establish the great glory of Bharat, the greatness of the Hindus again. He wants to take Bharat to where it was thousands of years ago. At that time, in around the 1920s, people used to say, you can call me a donkey, but don't call me a Hindu. At those times, Dr. Ji said, this is Hindu Rashtra. Truly, we are an organization of mad people. But it has always been madness that has brought about greatness, that has brought about change in society. And this Kalpa Vruksha teaches us a lot of things. One, of course, we have to be mad. And two, remember that the gold is for the society, the sand is for us. Especially when we work in other organizations, we should not forget our main goal, that is of Hindu Rashtra. Wherever we go, wherever we work, in Sangh, in families, in Samaj, in organizations, in Parivar organizations, we are always seen as Sangh Karyakartas or Sangh Swayamsevaks. To the outside world, we are role models. We have to always be alert, just like how the white shirt is very clean. A small black dot will glorify itself. Thus is how our character should be, extremely spotlessly clean. For us, the role models are Dr. Ji, Guru Ji, Moshi Ji, Tai Ji, and our pracharaks who continuously inspire us, and in the same way, we are role models to the Samaj. Let us not forget that as Karyakartas. The Sangh is growing. In 2025, RSS will be 100 years old. 2022, HSS Kenya will be 75 years old. The organization is slowly but surely getting bigger. There are now more responsibilities that come on us. There are more organizations coming up. There are people who look at us. And of course, the challenges are also increasing. But we are never afraid of those challenges. Why? Because we know कि ये ईश्वरीय कार्य है. This is God's work. An organization can only keep on growing if it continuously produces giants. And then only it can increase. If it continuously produces dwarfs, it will go down. And we are that kind of an organization whom we know and entrust that the youngsters who follow us will definitely go ahead of us and make the organization better. Go out and achieve the goal that is in front of us of world peace. Deen Dayal Ji was once asked whilst working in Jan Sangh that, you're working in a political environment, and in politics, people can become corrupt. So if the members of Jan Sangh become corrupt, compromise their principles, what do you think will happen? And Deen Dayal Ji, without blinking his eye, said, I will start another organization. The other person said, but again then, that is also politics. If that happens, what next? And Deen Dayal Ji said, I will start another organization. But never compromise on principles. Once some people came to meet Guruji and they said, "Do you know the Karya Paddhati that you follow is old, is outdated. We should change it now. Otherwise, the Sangh will not survive. It will crumble down." And Guruji, for a minute, closed his eyes and was in deep thought. And after a while he said, "Then I shall begin from the beginning. If everything crumbles down, I shall begin from the beginning." When we go in a museum and we see pieces of art, there are exquisite art. A great artist has painted such great pieces of art. And in such a museum, a simpleton person simple just like us, went to see all these great pieces of art. He was looking at them and was a bit confused and queried and asked the security guard, "Do you know, these artists, these pieces of art, are they really good, okay? I mean, I don't see anything in them." And the security guard said, "Keep quiet. No, this is done by a person who is an accomplished artist, who is well recognized everywhere. If you question him now, it will be very, very uncomfortable for you, because it will be as if people will be questioning your own thoughtfulness, your own brain. The Sangh is not on trial anymore. It is the people who question Sangh that are on trial. Just like how a bhakt is engrossed in singing a dhun, not worrying about the external circumstances, so is the Sangh now, not worried about anything, but going ahead. We carry on this work of Sangh in full masti. We are now full on. We are working hard with a smile, and we are not worried at all. There is no need to worry. We are on the right path. The only important aspect, the only important thing for us to do is to take care of the Karyakartas. Everything else will definitely fall in place. Lastly, to understand Sangh, one must learn Dr. Ji. For that matter, to understand any organization, one must read the biography or read more about the founder. What happened, how he started the organization, and the circumstances surrounding it. For us, it is paramount, very important that we go through Dr. Ji's life. It is very inspirational, very motivational, but more so tells us we can be like Dr. Ji. Dr. Ji is nothing different. Dr. Ji is just like us. He is a leader who has always been just 1 or 2 steps ahead of the people around him. We have seen many cases, if we look at the last 200, 300 years of history. There have been great leaders who have started different kinds of movements, but were very far ahead in their thoughts and actions. Today, they have found themselves in temples. Those leaders who started even social movements today those movements have turned into religious movements, and those leaders have become God to their followers. So people follow them or pray to them, but do not try to be like them. A great leader is one where his followers try to be like him and even become better than him. That is how the organization grows. There are so many such leaders, but Dattopant gives an example of just 2. Lokmanya Tilak, who until the 1920s was the leader of Congress, and Mahatma Gandhi, who after the 1920s became the leader. When Lokmanya Tilak in the 1950s were near his deathbed, one thing that he said many times was that the thoughts that I put forward were accepted as thoughts but did not produce followers. I don't have today people who follow what I preached. Even we see the same happens with the Gandhi movement. How many people follow the path that was shown by Mahatma Gandhi? Today, none or very few. A great leader is one who has looked in the future. There are three kinds of leaders, I think. One, there are those who have been forgotten in the history books. There are those who did so great that people could not follow them and have found themselves places in the temple, whom today people only pray to. But there are those great leaders whom the common man thinks he is just like my buddy, he is my hero, and I will become like him. That the third one is what Dr. G is. We have to become like him, or more so, even better than him. If you see how the camels cross the desert, there is no stopping. The camels run in the desert. It is just like how the song is. We are now on a roll. We are what we say full on. It is up to you to jump in the bandwagon. It is up to you to join us on this glorious ride. There is no stopping us now. Join us. It is one difficult task. It is one difficult journey. One has to give everything, tan, man, and dhan. But it is one that brings a smile on the person in this journey. Sangh is unstoppable now. Guruji's last words end the book by saying, Vijay hi Vijay hai. Now there is only victory.
Okay, so we shall end today's session here. We also have a Suchna that if you have any questions regarding the Bauddhik and everything, you shall send those questions to us, either to myself or Divyeshji or Vibhak Karyavas for the next week's sessions via WhatsApp or even email or even through whatever the means you have. Namaskar everyone. Shubh Ratri.